Okay, the message that the Lord gave me to share with our athletes at the beginning of 2019 was about complacency. And so one of the phrases that I would go into the schools and I would share with the athletes and with the students was, complacency is my enemy. And that was what I really wanted them to just kind of grasp hold of, that complacency is my enemy. And Proverbs 1:32 says, "For the waywardness of the naive will kill them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them." So, the Bible tells us that complacency will destroy us. So, it's our enemy. It's something that wants to keep us from being all that God created us to be and to do all that He created us to do to bring Him glory. So, complacency is something that we have to fight. And so a definition of complacency is a state of self-satisfaction or smugness that causes us to settle into our current surroundings in such a way that we no longer see our current blessings and we become lazy and miss our future opportunities. And as I shared this message with one of our school huddles, I believe it was at R.A. Hubbard, one of the students there, when I asked if anyone knew what complacency was, the student said that this being satisfied with how things are and not wanting for better. And it's like, yes, that's exactly right. Just, in a nutshell, that's what it is. Just being satisfied with how things are and, and not even trying, not even wanting for better. And that's not who God created us to be. And so an example that I would share with the kids about what does complacency kind of look like. So here's my definition, but what does it look like? And so I would use the example of, let's say, when you're starting to play ball and you're trying out for the team and you're trying to achieve that starting position, you're 9th, 10th grade or new coming into a new school, you are giving it your all. I mean, you are working it. You are 120% because you are trying to achieve that starting position. But then a lot of times what we will discover and find out is that once we have that position, or now that we're that upperclassman, that junior, that senior, and we have this position, or we have had this position, it's kind of like all of a sudden now we kind of feel entitled to have that position, and we no longer work as hard and put as much effort into it because we already have it. And or it could even be the fact that here I am older, I am more mature, I am very improved, I am skilled at this, and everyone else is not as skilled as me that is underneath me, and so I don't have to work as hard in order to even play better than they are. So we get stuck in this place of complacency to where we just settle on our current state of goodness, accolades, ability, and we don't strive for more. And we don't work for more, and we don't grasp to see how much better we could be, and that can be in not just on the court or on the field, but in our studies. If C's get degrees, why study for an A? Or if I can get a B by just sitting in class and not doing any of my homework, why would I work so hard just to have an A? So that being complacent and settling for that B instead of putting in the effort and the work and the striving to achieve that A. And we can find complacency not just in our school, not just in our athletic ability, but we can find that in our homes, in our families. When we become husbands and wives, we can find that in our marriage, to where I said I do at the altar, that I love you. Why do I have to keep trying to show you that I do or prove to you that I do? We can find that in our relationship with the Lord, and that's where it gets really dangerous. And that's really where the root of everything else, I believe, falls into, is that we can become complacent in the fact that I made that confession. I made Jesus my Lord. I prayed that prayer. I was baptized. I go to church on Sundays. I read my Bible every once in a while. Me and Jesus are fine. We're good. But it's like you could know him so much more. He's endless. And so just being complacent in our walk instead of striving to grow in it and to press on to what lies ahead, to forgetting what lies behind. So that kind of leads me into the next part of my lesson, and what I would share is I would go into the schools and share. I would use the word fight as an acronym to teach some tools that they can use to fight complacency in their life. And I pulled these tools off of some other websites and things, to where I was like, okay, how can we fight complacency? What are some ways that we can do that? And so these were some steps that I found